I think most people overlook the actual point of the demon list. Most people look at it as a competition. It's about whoever can make the hardest levels or whoever can beat the most levels. When the list was originally created, nobody was thinking, I'm going to make a list people can submit to, and they'll try to make it as hard as possible, and when people beat them, they'll get on a leaderboard. That's really what it is now. People just try to make levels as hard as possible just for the sake of it, or they beat them, just for list points or popularity or whatever. The original intent of the list was just to rank all the hardest levels. That's it. There were levels that existed and somebody ranked them. Back then, there weren't even different demons. Every demon was just a demon. Extreme demons didn't exist back then, so there's a pretty good reason to rank them, even outside of just for fun. But now it's changed, and it's become a lot more competitive. The game and the list don't coexist. It seems like nobody plays the game without the demon list in mind, and nobody makes a list level without planning for it to be a list level. I mean, when's the last time someone made a level, and it just happened to place on the list? Usually every list level says top 50 or something in the title, and no one accidentally makes a new hardest demon. They don't just happen by accident. Instead of making levels in a vacuum, they compare the difficulty to other levels and make sure they're harder than them. The list isn't really for fun, not just to rank levels, it's really just for popularity. Everybody wants to make the new top 1, and everyone wants to beat hard levels and be a more popular player. And, okay, when I say everybody or nobody, I obviously don't literally mean that. Obviously there are people who play or create for fun, but it seems like that's not the goal for most people. I've noticed the same thing happening with other lists as well, not just the demon list. When there's a list for any type of level, everyone wants to get to the top. Even lists like that don't tend to be for maps. The maps get created for the lists. Now let's talk about people saying that the list is too hard. This is something a lot of people say, and I don't understand it. Let's start thinking about why people might say that. I mean, the only reason I can think of is that they want to be able to beat the list levels. Not great. Like, the only way it can be validated is if you beat a level on the list, regardless of how hard the level is in the first place. I mean, Yatagarasu fell off the list, but it's still Yatagarasu. It is an amazing achievement, is it not? Of course, lists will get harder, but that just makes it more of an achievement to beat a list level. Players catch up to the list. Hundreds of people have beat Sonic Wave and Yatagarasu and stuff like that. So the levels themselves need to progress. They need to move forward or else the game just wouldn't be interesting. There can only be 150 levels on the list, and while it sucks to lose an iconic level, it'd be boring if we just had the exact same levels for so many years. But instead, people complain when somebody verifies a list level, especially in the top 10, or if an iconic level falls off. The standards are changing. People won't just forever be amazed by the difficulty of Sonic Wave. I mean, in what other game do you see people achieving some of the most impressive things ever done in it, and the community complains about it? Imagine being a Super Mario Bros. Speedrunner and complaining that people are too good, because too many people have sub-5s. I mean, sure, well over 300 people have beat Super Mario Bros. In under 5 minutes, but nobody has ever acted like it's less of an achievement. Nobody is really worried whether they can get in the top 150 on the leaderboard. That's a problem solely created by the GD community. Nobody goes, I wish people weren't as good as they were so that I can be at the top. They just celebrate other players' achievements. Everybody wants to get a world record, or at least rank high, but these types of games evolve. They are competitive in nature, and either you catch up or you're left behind. Looking at it that way almost makes it look kind of selfish. You're really just bringing people down. And I'm not trying to say that this is what people who say this stuff are trying to do, but I could see it being really demotivating to put your heart and soul into a level, and then everybody just dismisses all that. Is it actually harmful? I don't know. Without the list, no one would care if Tidal Wave looked good or not. It would just be a really amazing achievement. People are just so negative about top 1s now. We can't just come together as a community and be excited about this stuff. Celebrate not only the achievement of creating a level, since it really is a monumental task, especially a solo creation, but also beating a level, spending hours and thousands of attempts on a single map, pushing your mind and body to their limits, basically the human limits, to do the most amazing thing the game has ever seen at the time. But no, it's beach themed and more difficult than Avernus, so it's bad, I guess. I want to make it clear that this isn't just about Tidal Wave. It's just that it's been getting the most discourse, for no real reason, honestly. It's different, and I guess people don't like that. I mean, so many people wanted an XL top 1. Tidal Wave is 3 minutes, but I've never seen anyone bring that up in a positive way, really. It's finally what people were asking for, right? A fair, original, not hell level, long, not soulless top 1, and it's what they got. And somehow Tidal Wave is super controversial. Here's what I think the takeaway should be from this video. Number 1, don't worry about how hard the list is nowadays. I get that, especially if you're an older player, seeing the list progressively get harder and less feasible can be a bit jarring, maybe demotivating, but that's when you have to change your perception of it. Don't look at it as something you have to reach someday, especially if you aren't putting in some serious work to get there. Getting good at this game takes time, a lot of time. Beating a list level does not come easy. Really, the list shows how good the verifiers of the levels are, so it's just a competitive leaderboard that you shouldn't worry too much about. You should just work on self-improvement. Beat levels that are hard for you, and don't worry if it's hard for today's top players. And honestly, if you put in that effort and just to work on yourself, you'll probably be more likely to reach the skill level you need to get on the list. Complaining won't really do anything. And if you want a list that you can submit to, or just want to see where certain extremes rank, just check out the all-rated extreme demons list. It literally has all the extreme demons in the entire game, so you cannot complain. Number 2, just appreciate the levels. People take this community for granted. It really is one of the most dedicated communities in all of gaming. People spend an obscene amount of time making and playing levels. But people will dislike these amazing creations for some pretty petty reasons at times. I think you should appreciate the levels that are on the list, at least if they aren't just outright terrible. You can still criticize them, and some levels do deserve it, Aquamarine, but for the most part, it just makes things better to appreciate what we have, not complain that the levels aren't literally perfect. I mean, I heard that people were complaining about this red orb in Tidal Wave, like just the singular orb. Like I don't understand. This community is divided enough, so the more we can agree on, the better off we are. But seriously, people were complaining about Cosmos when it was decorated and verified. Like, have you guys even seen that level? How is it not incredible? That's everything I have to say. Don't take the list too seriously. Appreciate what levels have to offer. Celebrate the players that beat them. Just have fun and not be constantly on edge about whatever the next top one is. I hope you could take away something from this. Learn something, be inspired, whatever. See ya.